So apparently the Biden administration is at it again. They're apparently flying out illegal immigrants to places like New York. Oh, apparently tons of underage illegal immigrants have been brought to New York by plane for all the way from the Texas border. So instead of course, getting control of what's happening over in Texas and, of course, the border as a whole, we're now taking illegal immigrants, underage illegal immigrants, and transporting them across the country to New York. And this isn't the first time. This is not the first time this has happened. Earlier in the year, we had cases where all these people who, of course, were unvaccinated, big thing there, right? Unvaccinated and untested were released in places like Tennessee, which they then went and said, oh, look at these spiking COVID cases happening in Tennessee soon after. Pretty bizarre, right? They try to find ways to transport illegal immigrants everywhere except where they entered the country at, because you can't allow them to all be there in one spot because, of course, that draws media attention. That draws media attention when you have these giant camps of illegal immigrants right at the border. So instead, we're going to sit there and take them and fly them across the country in the middle of the night where no one will know about it. So we got this story here from the New York Post. Biden secretly flying underage migrants into New York in the dead of night. I love how they use the term migrants. You know, I get they're underage, so you can make the argument it's not their fault. But at the end of the day, they're illegal immigrants. All right, let's be real here. They're here illegally. They're trying to immigrate to the country illegally. They're illegal immigrants. As simple as that. But flying them into New York in the dead of night. Plane loads of underage migrants are being flown secretly into suburban New York in an effort by President Biden's administration to quietly resell them across the region, the Post has learned. The charter flights originated in Texas, where the ongoing border crisis has overwhelmed local immigration officials, and have been underway since at least August, according to sources familiar with the matter. Last week, the Post saw 2 planes land at the Westchester County Airport, where most of the passengers who got off appeared to be children and teens, with a small portion appearing to be men in their 20s. Now, I'd like to know why the men in their 20s are being transported with all these small kids. That doesn't sound like it makes any sense to me. As well as, of course, why are we transporting people who are adults across the country? And why are we transporting children across the country? That's another good reason. And just why are we transporting them at all? Why are we sending them to New York? Of all places. The Westchester County cops stood by as passengers of the flight arrived at 10:49 p.m. Wednesday and 9:52 p.m. on Friday, got off and piled onto buses. Some of them were later seen meeting with relatives or sponsors in New Jersey or being dropped off at residential facilities on Long Island. Now, I would like to know, are these relatives even legal? Just a question. Just a question. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I'm not sure. I think New York is a sanctuary city, right? I'm not 100% sure, but I think they are. Are these relatives here legally or illegally? I would like to know this. A post-analysis of the online flight tracking data suggests around 2,000 of the underage migrants have arrived at the airport outside white planes on 21 flights since August 8th. Since August 8th, they've been secretly flying in underage children into the state of New York. Absolutely ridiculous. Just completely ridiculous. Records show that some of the planes touched down between midnight and 6:30 a.m. when a voluntary curfew is in effect, of course. So they're flying them in where there's a voluntary when a curfew is in effect, of all things. With 2 arriving from Houston at 2:13 a.m. and 4:29 a.m. on August 20th. The clandestine nature of the operation raises questions about how the White House is dealing with a recent surge in unaccompanied minors. The most recent figures from U.S. Customs and Border Protection show that just during July and August, over 37,000 unaccompanied minors were caught entering the U.S. from Mexico, sometimes being abandoned by professional smugglers known as coyotes. And of course, they have a video down here of them getting off the plane. So, let's get this straight. We have over 37 unaccompanied minors, underage illegal immigrants in this country right now. Over 37,000 of them. Here's the deal. Right now, they're underage, right? We can say it's not their fault. They grow up. They grow up, and then what? Right? It's more, again, we already taken more immigrants in this country than about any country on the face of the planet. Right? Now, we, of course, respect those who come through the process legally. I have nothing against people who come through the process legally. As much as I think we should lower overall immigration to a country in general, I'm not going to get on someone who goes through the legal process, because at that point, they at least respected our laws when they came over. But now, when you have all these are just the unaccompanied minors. What about those people who are in their 20s? What about the people who are of course, full on adults? Why are any of them being allowed in this country? Why are we even entertaining this idea of these tens of thousands of people flooding across our border? Why are they coming? They're coming now, of course, because they know the Biden administration is not going to do jack about it, as they've shown. In fact, the Biden administration is going to run cover for them. All right, these guys, when you sit there and take these kids in like this, instead of course, trying your best to try to figure out, of course, who their families are in other countries and sending them back, it encourages more of this. We can say, oh, well, what about those children right there? And I get it. They're underage. You can make the argument it's not their fault. Except for the fact when we sit there and do stuff like this, it encourages it to happen more. We encourage this to happen to more children. And we don't know who brought them over. We don't even know if the relatives who are picking them up at these airports are even their relatives, or even if they're here legally. What if they're not their relatives? Did you ever think about that? We don't have good documentation for these people. We just don't. All we know is that this kid apparently says, hey, this person's my relative. We have no idea if this is true. We have no idea if any of this is true. For all we know, documents can be forged, all right? The cartels know how to forge documents. For all we know, they're just being handed off to abusers or gang members. We have no idea because they didn't go through the damn legal process. That's the issue. Now, for the sponsor, sure, you can make the argument that, all right, they probably went through the process a bit, to be registered as a sponsor, so they're probably going to a good place, as well as, of course, you have residential facilities on Long Island, apparently. At the end of the day, though, why are we allowing this to take place? Why do we not have a more secure border? How are these kids just being dropped over the border wall just like that? How is that even a thing? How are we not stopping this? This isn't a complicated issue. It's just secure the damn border. It's something that we used to all agree on. All right, Bill Clinton gave speeches saying we must secure the border. Bush, we must secure the border. Obama at least paid lip service to the idea. He at least paid lip service to the idea. Bernie Sanders. Now everyone knows Bernie Sanders saying we must secure the border because open borders are a Koch brother conspiracy. We used to all agree that securing the border should be a major role of the federal government. It's one of the few roles they actually have by the Constitution. Immigration is one of the few roles that they actually have, one of the few powers that are actually given to them. Of all the illegal crap the federal government does, this is actually one of the few things that they're supposed to do, is handle the immigration problems of the country. Yet, no. Open border. It's almost like these people at this point are trying to crash our economy in the fastest way possible. It really seems that way. Of course, with the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg apparently going on paternity leave when we have this major crisis of all those ships, bringing in bringing in goods, not being able to make it to their ports. We have all this problem going on. Oh, he's on paternity leave. Oh, you know what? Send Kamala Harris down to the border. And what's happened? Oh, it's now worse than ever before. We have more of those, Ocasio-Cortez called, immigration concentration camps. She has to, of course, compare, it to the Nazis when it was a Trump administration, but now, of course, is dead silent on it, even though we have even more of them today than we did under Trump. We are having crisis after crisis after crisis, and what's happening? Oh, that's right, they're covering it up. They're covering it up like they always do. It's happening in the middle of the night. I know it's dumb to say, when will these people be held accountable? Because obviously they're not going to be held accountable for this. Which is why we have to start holding these people accountable. We have to start voting for politicians that will stand up to this nonsense. Obviously, New York is a liberal hellhole. So their governor, their mayors, none of them are going to bat an eye when you drop a bunch of illegal immigrants in their town. We have to elect reasonable people to local offices to make sure when they try to pull this crap in other areas, like they tried to do in Tennessee, that someone can stand up eventually and say, this ain't happening. This is wrong. Get them out of here. They don't belong here. They're illegal immigrants. All right, they're not here legally. Get them out. States have got to start standing up, and you're starting to see that with places like Texas actually saying their own National Guard to help secure the border. It shouldn't be Texas's job to secure the border. It just shouldn't be their job. But they're trying now to take some responsibility for the border, even though again, it's not. It shouldn't be them. It should not be them who are the ones who have to take responsibility for this. It should be the federal government in this case. But at least Texas is taking a stand saying, no, we're tired of this. We're going to do something about it. Florida offered some people. Guess what? They're doing something about it. A couple other states have sent down their National Guard to help secure the border with Texas. And it doesn't get reported, obviously. But at least they're standing up. It's why we have to win local elections. We have to try to do what we can to make sure this doesn't happen in our states, because they're just flying these people in the middle of the night and dropping them wherever the hell they want to. This is just the ones we know about. I just think about that. These are only the ones we know about. Who knows where else they've been landing them? Who knows who else have been transported? Are they all minors? Well, we know some of them, or a good portion of them, were in their 20s. So how many other adults did they drop in? We don't know. Either way, it just goes to show the Biden administration they're just doing the same old, destroying the economy the fastest way they know possible. Either way, what do you think? Leave a comment below, as well as, of course, hey, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be talking again real soon.